and it's really been my honor to work with Daryl for the last, I think a little over 3 years. 3 years on what I'd say is really a passion project. It's my also pleasure to introduce one of the senior executives here at Albany Med who wanted to share some remarks on behalf of leadership, and that's Dr. Dennis McKenna. Dr. McKenna is the Executive Vice President here at the hospital. He's also the Senior Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs and the President of our Faculty Practice Group. So, Dr. McKenna.
Thank you. So let me echo your words and say thank you to all of you for coming here today. This is obviously a very special project, and I think the words you used, the passion project, is exactly the right way to describe it. As background, I'm an emergency medicine physician, so I'm going to speak a little bit to the importance of this room in a second, but let me go back a little bit to 2014. I remember meeting with Daryl back in 2014. On a personal note, I knew Jim. Maybe not as well as all you did, but I did know him, and I remember when I did get a chance to talk to him, he was a highly intelligent individual, very charismatic, and very much a pleasure for me to spend some time with him. So when you reached out to me and asked to get together, there was a personal connection there. And what's really important is that I think Daryl took her, she was looking to try to make sense of what happened, and what she did is really remarkable. So she took that and she put her energy and her passion and her focus into taking what was obviously an incredibly sad situation and turning it into something which is so positive. So why is this such a positive thing for the medical center? As an emergency medicine physician, I can tell you it's not uncommon when we have to meet with families in situations not dissimilar to the one that Daryl found herself in, where you have to have some very serious conversations with people, maybe some sad news, maybe some good news, but it's news that you want to deliver in private. So fortunately, down in the emergency department, we have a room just like that. We call it our family consultation room, and I use it every shift. Well, obviously, as you'll probably learn, that wasn't available back in 2014, and so I can tell you that developing this is an incredibly much needed place to have that quiet, reflective conversation with the family. And it's something that was missing from the 7th floor up here. And so I give tremendous amount of credit to Daryl and to all of you who helped make that happen. Interestingly, I think I heard that even today, the first day was available, it was already starting to be used. So that I think speaks to the fact that it was so necessary. The medical center prides itself on delivering world-class care to the people in the region, but sometimes we need something more of that personal touch, that human touch, beyond the technical abilities we deliver, and that's why this is so important. And the fact that the community came around and helped support this, I think, is a credit not only to Daryl and all of you, but to Jim, and so his legacy is carries on beyond that. So I thank you for the opportunity to be part of this project, and I congratulate you for getting us this far.
Yeah. I told James and Dennis not to worry. I do have 7 pages in my hand, but that's because it's in 20-point type. So I want to thank Dennis and James, and those of you who sat through my eulogy for Jim will be happy to know that the operative word today is brevity. That's because the dedication of this beautiful room very closely follows the 5th anniversary of Jim's death, and for me, this gathering today marks a turning point toward the light, toward a feeling of optimism and a feeling of hope. It was coincidental that the two events fell so closely together, but it also seems very fitting. And so I wanted this to be thought of as a day to remember and to celebrate, but not to mourn or grieve. My husband grew up a few blocks from Fenway Park in Boston, and when he was a little boy, he used to sneak inside the parking lot at Fenway and look for cars with New York license plates and let the air out of the tires. And in spite of this inauspicious beginning, Jim became a New Yorker, and New York embraced him as one of its own. So we're very forgiving people in New York State. And New York became Jim's beloved adopted state, and Albany in the upstate New York region most definitely became his real home. And after Jim's death, I wanted to see something done that would give back to Jim's city. Everyone gathered here today was invited because they are a friend to me or to Jim and me, a colleague, past or present, or a member of the staff at either the hospital or the Albany Medical Center Foundation who worked on this project. There are, however, 4 friends I particularly want to thank, and not all of them are able to be here today. Steve Barnes, a longtime friend to Jim and me, gave me some really good advice when I planned the fundraiser at my home in 2016 that kicked off this effort. Steve also wrote the beautiful story for the Times-Union that broke the news of Jim's death. Many friends have been an incredible source of support, but I do want to especially thank Eileen and Tim Kane, who have really stayed the course with me. Ellen Peacott was one of my best friends, and she helped me tremendously with the fundraiser, and along with her husband, Jim Dolan, contributed very generously to this room. Ellen died of cancer last year, but she knew this project would be completed, and she never doubted that I would get it done. So many people at the hospital and the Medical Center Foundation played a role in making this room a reality that I actually don't know everyone's name who was involved. But this, the staff of the Patients Relations Department were the first people with whom I discussed this idea, and they immediately saw the merits of the plan and quickly moved it up to the next level in the hospital. Jeffrey Gordon, the hospital's Vice President for Communications and also a former neighbor and longtime friend, and Dr. Dennis McKenna, whom we just heard speak, another longtime friend, who is the hospital's newly named Executive Vice President, President of Faculty Practice, and Senior Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs, were truly instrumental in making this happen. Here at the Cath Lab, Dr. Augustin Delago, the lab's clinical director, and Cindy Novak and Loretta Giella, the successive nurse managers at the lab, wanted this room to happen so much that I know their enthusiasm is a large part of the reason we got here today. I would especially like to thank James Kellerhouse and Susan Wayner, both of the Albany Medical Center Foundation. Susan for her help planning this event, and James, who was there with me through this long effort, who kept promising me that it would happen, and who fielded a few frantic, frustrated, and even despairing phone calls from me. Sometimes it was difficult to realize that this project that all of us were so excited about was happening, in fact, only because my beloved husband died a few decades before his time. Nothing in this life lasts forever. The things that last forever are not of this world. They are of the life to come. But it is really good to think that for as far down the road as any of us can see, this room will be here to help families and patients, and I would like to think that this room will be here so long that someday someone who has no idea who Jim McGrath was will look at Jim's picture and think he must have been someone really special. The hospital named a room after him. So thank you all very, very much. Lovely refreshments still going on and a chance to mingle. I know it's a work night for people, so truly thank you to everybody who was able to get here, and thank you for being here.
And Daryl, I just want to again express my thanks to you. I think this is something I was brand new at the medical center, actually, when we connected.
And then you got stuck with me.
When we connected as well.
As your first case.
But it was special. No. But it, you know, the passion, the emotion, but the why of what we were doing, you know, why we were doing this project is what propelled this to completion. And I know at times it felt like we were just hitting some hurdles, but we made it through each one. We did it with perseverance, and we also want to say thank you to you for helping to make this happen.
Oh my gosh.
So here's a gift from Albany Med.
Oh wow,
as a way to say thank you for everything you did
so
to help us. So thank you. Absolutely.
May I open it now?
Absolutely.
So everybody can see what this beautiful Albany blue ribbon is covering?
Can you tell our color's blue? I
Yeah.
didn't notice that, but.
All right, I'll save the ribbon. My friends know I recycle everything.
Yes, we do.
I do. Wow.
So we wanted to give you a copy of
Oh
what we
my
put in Jim's
gosh,
room
all right.
as well.
Okay. I'm very happy to have this. This is very special. Thank you, and thanks to everybody. As I said, everybody here was here for a reason, so thank you all, and enjoy some refreshments,
Absolutely.
and I'll see all of you again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thrilled with this.
Good.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Good.